Okay, so we have the API route down. Now we want to add the functionality to this button so that if we click it, it either adds or removes the bookmark based on if it's there or not, if we already bookmarked it. So let's go to our bookmark button file here. And let's start off just bringing in what we need. It needs to be client side. So let's say use client, because we are using some hooks here. And then we're going to import use state and use effect from React. And we're also going to need to get the user. So yeah, let's import use session. And what else do we need here? I guess just toast, because we do want to show, basically if they click it and they're not logged in, I want it to just show a toast saying you have to log in. And you can handle it a different way if you want. If you want to redirect them, or if you want to not even show the button if they're a guest, then I mean you can handle it differently if you'd like. But I think this is what I want to do. So we want to import toast from React Toastify. Okay, next thing, let's go right into the function here. Let's get our session. So const and data, we're going to rename it to session from use session. And then let's get the user ID. So const user ID and get that from session. We'll use optional chaining here. So session.user and then .id. Okay, and then for the state, the component state, we're going to have is bookmarked. So is bookmarked, and then set is bookmarked, right? Yeah. So use state, and we're going to set that to false by default. All right, and I mean it's set to false by default, but later, and then probably the next video, we're going to check our bookmark state, right? We're going to have a separate route to check, and if it is bookmarked, then that'll be set to true, and ultimately the button will say remove bookmark if we already have it. So now for the handler, let's add onto the button an on click, and we'll set that to handle click. Okay, and then we're going to create that const handle click, and this is going to be an async function. All right, and then I'm going to check for the user IDs, or check if not user ID. And if there's not a user ID, then let's do a toast.error, and we'll say you need to sign in to bookmark a property. And then we'll just return. Okay, so that's if there's no user. If they are logged in, then let's open up a try catch and let's make our request. So we're going to say const res, set that to await, and then fetch. And the endpoint is going to be the one we created in the last video, which is API/bookmarks. All right, and then we want this to be a post request, so we're going to pass in an object, and let's add method post. And I'm going to add in the headers here content type of application/JSON. Okay, and then for the body, let's go under the headers, and the body is going to include the property ID. So let's say body. We're going to wrap this in a JSON.stringify. And then pass in an object that has the property ID set to the property that's passed in here, which we need to actually catch. So property, because that's being passed in the page, right, as a prop. So we want to set this property ID to property._ID, because that's how it is in the database. The object ID is in _ID. So that's our res variable. So now let's go underneath that and let's check the status of what we get back. So if res.status is equal to 200 and everything's okay, then let's get the data. Set that to await res.json and then let's do a toast. So toast.success. And what I'm going to put in here actually is not a hard-coded string, but on that data object there'll be a message. Because remember, when we send this back from the route, we're sending back two things, the message and is bookmarked. So we're going to toast success the message and then set is bookmarked to data.isBookmarked, which will be a true or false value. All right, and then in the catch, we'll just do a console log of the error, and we'll do a toast.error, and let's just say something went wrong. Okay, I think that should do it. Now, we're not going to see any change in the button. That'll be the next video, but it should update the database. So let's click, wait a minute, before we do that, actually, so it's up to you. If you want to make it so you can't bookmark your own property, that's all right. I'm not going to do that. I will for the contact form. We're going to make it so you can't send a message to your own, to yourself. But if you want to bookmark your own property, I guess that's fine. So let's click bookmark property, and nothing happened. Let's open up the console here. Any warning like this image, this has to do with the Mapbox GL. For some reason, it's missing some icons. So just ignore that. I really don't think there's anything we can do about that warning. But we're getting a 500 response from our route, so I probably just misspelled something. Let's come down here and see if we have any. So session is not defined. Session is not defined. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So that needs to be session user and session user. All right, let's reload the page. We'll try that again. Click the button. Bookmark added successfully. So we have, remember, the button's not going to change just yet, but let's check the database. So I'm going to come to the database. I'm going to go to View, Reload Data. And now, if we look in Bookmarks, I have the object ID for this property. If I click it again, it should go away. So I'm going to click it again. And it says bookmark removed successfully. So the message from the API endpoint that we created is being displayed. And let's check that. So I'm going to go to reload data again, and now that bookmark is gone. All right, now I do want to just have some bookmarks, but I don't want them to be my own properties. So let's see, Boston Cozy Luxury. So let's bookmark one of these other ones like Seaside Retreat. So now that's bookmarked. And what we'll do in the next video is make it so that that button changes. And also when we come to the page, if it is bookmarked, we want the button to be changed as well.